Hello, Morim here. Today I want to explain to you how poison pops on the druid work. And they are disgustingly broken because they double dip basically every single instance of damage. What I mean by this is basically if you apply a poison and it pops, it becomes its own new instance of damage, its own new skill, and this one is then recalculated and used as a base damage for further increases. So when we look at the poison creeper ability and we increase the damage by, for example, a 5 generic node right here, and we take this one off, we decrease the base damage. The base damage of this poison creeper, when we consume it with one of the aspects that do this, like for example the blurred beast or the changing depth aspect, this base damage is then added to the shred ability. And this base damage is then calculated as a burst of poison damage, not a dot. So every single bucket that increased the poison damage is going to double dip when it's applied to the base damage of the shred ability. Now I tried to find out if core damage is going to affect the poison, but the damage fluctuates quite a lot, so I'm not entirely certain. What I did find out is when you just take out, like for example, the crit node here, there is one, the spirit node. Let me find it real quick. Here, this one. When you have this one on the character and exchange it for this one, you're basically dealing the same amount of damage. So I'm nearly 100% certain that the poison pop is inheriting the base skills tags, like for example core on the shred ability, and thus is affected by core skill damage and core skill crit damage. Now for the changing depth aspect, there is another instance of multipliers that you can apply. For example, when you look at the trample ability in the skill tree, you will see there is a 150 bonus damage multiplier right here. This one applies to the poison pop, thus giving you a 150% increased more multiplier to the poison pop. This is insane. This is really insane. That's one of the strongest multipliers in the entire game. And you get it basically for free. So if you go to the Lilith and you stack your poison up really good, you're going to just use your trample and basically crit her for nearly 50 or even 100 million damage. Because you can then stack this whole thing with the Shepherd's aspect, which gives around 108% at the top roll. You have the 300% more multiplier you get by consuming the poison, because when you use it on a two-handed weapon, you get a 100% bonus. And then you get all the other multipliers on the tree, like for example the Ancestral Guidance one. You get all the multipliers to crit damage, you get all the increases to damage again, so you're double dipping. You're basically having another bucket, which makes poison incredibly strong on the druid. It's an insanely overlooked mechanic. Now to really showcase this one, I cannot just go to a random enemy right here, because each enemy has a limit on how much poison can be applied to their health pool, namely their health pool. So you can only multiply this damage again. But if you go to something like Lilith, and I will show you a clip right now, you can deal insane amounts of damage. Like constantly dealing 6, 5, 12, even 10, maybe even 16 million damage with the blurred beast aspect. And this one can be used on a two-handed weapon, so you don't need to use waxing gibbers. Waxing gibbers is, for example, extremely nice to have when, well, dungeoneering. But if you want to maximize your single target damage, you want a two-handed weapon, because a two-handed weapon will have increased damage to healthy enemies, vulnerable damage, crit damage, something like poison damage would be preferable here, because you can double dip that. Damage over time is not going to double dip because it only applies to the poison, not the pop, but core skill damage only applies to the pop, not the base damage. So you want to look for something that's double dipping, and that's going to skyrocket your damage. Like one such example is this chest, the Mad Wolf's Glee. It has 20% poison damage on it. Now 20% poison damage is going to apply to Creeper, and then it's going to apply to the pop of Shred. When we look at the Paragon board, I noticed there is not much poison damage on here, which is kind of weird. So that's why I investigated this type of damage. There are only a few nodes right here, 10% here, 5% here, and 5% here. So I became a bit suspicious, because why only give us so little? It's because it's multiplicative by design. It's an intended mechanic. So to sum it up, this means the poison damage you stack is becoming the base damage of the pop, and this one is then multiplied again, increased again, by the damage modifiers you have on your gear, on your character, and this deals a ton of damage. So if you have any questions, tell me down below in the comments. I will gladly answer them. So leave a like, leave a comment and subscribe. Also check out my channel membership to support me or my PayPal if you want to give me a donation. See you next time and bye.